D. Jacoby,
Ricknoth Jaggernoth,
Jake Dennis Jagoda,
Yudvir S. Jane,
Maria Jan Kubiak,
Robert Adrian Jalbert,
Ernest James,
Griselda E. James,
Mark Stephen Jardim,
Amy Nicole Jarrett,
Mohamedou Jawara,
Francois Jean-Pierre,
Maxima Jean-Pierre,
Paul Edward Jeffers,
John Charles Jenkins,
and my uncle Christopher Noble Ingracia. Even though you died more than 8 years before I was born, your memory lives on through me and so many of your family and friends. Now Grandpa is in heaven with you too. May you both rest in the peace of his kingdom, and may God bless America.
and to my cousin Daniel L. Maher.
Joseph Jenkins, Jr.
Alan Keith Jensen.
Prem Nath Giraffe.
Farah Judy.
Hueda Jian.
Elizer Jimenez Jr.
Luis Jimenez, Jr.
Charles Gregory John.
Nicholas John.
Dennis M. Johnson.
Lashana Johnson.
Scott Michael Johnson.
William R. Johnston.
Allison Horstman Jones.
Arthur Joseph Jones III.
Brian Leander Jones.
Charles Edward Jones.
Christopher D. Jones.
Donald T. Jones II.
Donald W. Jones.
Judith Lauter Jones.
Linda Jones.
Mary S. Jones.
Andrew Brian Jordan Sr.
Robert Thomas Jordan.
Albert Gunnis Joseph.
Ingeborg Joseph.
Carl Henry Joseph.
Stephen Joseph.
Jane Eileen Josiah.
Anthony Jovic.
Angel L. Warbe Jr.
Karen Sue Jude.
Ann C. Judge.
Michael F. Judge.
Paul William Jurgens.
Thomas Edward Jurgens.
Shashikaran Lakshmita Kadaba.
Gavharoy Kamardinova.
Shari Candel.
And my cousin, Brian. My cousin, Brian Christopher Hickey, FDNY Battalion Chief from Rescue 4. So very brave, so very missed, so very loved by so many, always.
And my father, Louis F. Eversano Jr. To my daddy and all of those that we lost 20 years ago today, your loss has left us all with a heartache that nothing will ever heal. But know this, our love for you and our memories of you and with you are something that no one and nothing, no evil, will ever steal. God bless America.
Howard Lee Kane.
Jennifer Lee Lynn Kane.
Vincent D. Kane.
June Koo Kang.
Sheldon Robert Cantor.
Deborah H. Kaplan,
Robin Lynn Kaplan,
Alvin Peter Kappelman Jr.,
Charles H. Karcheski,
William A. Carnes,
Douglas Jean Karpiloff,
Charles L. Casper,
Andrew K. Cates,
John A. Casamatides,
Robert Michael Colfers,
Don Jerome Couth Jr.,
Hidea Kawachi,
Edward T. Keene,
Richard M. Kane,
Lisa Yvonne Carney Griffin,
Carol Ann Kiesler,
Barbara A. Keating,
Paul Hanlon Keating,
Leo Russell Keene III,
Brenda Kiegler,
Chandler Raymond Keller,
Joseph John Keller,
Peter R. Kellerman,
Joseph P. Kellett,
Frederick H. Kelly III,
James Joseph Kelly,
Joseph A. Kelly,
Maurice P. Kelly,
Richard John Kelly Jr.,
Thomas Michael Kelly,
Thomas Richard Kelly,
Thomas W. Kelly,
Timothy Colin Kelly,
William Hill Kelly Jr.,
Robert Clinton Kennedy,
and my grandfather, Dedo, Martin John Coughlin. Even though I never got to meet you, I will always carry on your legacy and spirit. I'll never forget you.
and my brother Joseph A. Kelly, whose love of life and generosity inspired everyone who knew him. He was a great young man, and he will be dearly missed. He is truly missed.
Thomas J. Kennedy,
Yvonne E. Kennedy,
John Richard Keohane,
Ralph Francis Kershaw,
Ronald T. Kerwin,
Howard L. Kestenbaum,
Douglas D. Ketchum,
Ruth Ellen Kettler,
Boris Califf,
Norma Cruz Khan,
Sarah Khan,
Taimur Faraz Khan,
Rajesh Khandelwal,
Sele Ku,
Michael Vernon Kiefer,
Satoshi Kikuchara,
Andrew Jaehoon Kim,
Lawrence Don Kim,
Mary Jo Kimmelman,
Heinrich Kemig,
Karen Ann Kincaid,
Amy R. King,
Andrew M. King,
Lucille Teresa King,
Robert King Jr.,
Lisa King Johnson,
Brian K. Kinney,
Takashi Kinoshito,
Chris Michael Kirby,
Robert Kirkpatrick,
Howard Barry Kirschbaum,
Glenn Davis Kerwin,
Helen Crossan Kittle,
Richard Joseph Claris,
Peter Anton Klein,
Alan David Kleinberg,
Karen Joyce Klitzman,
Ronald Philip Klepfer,
Stephen A. Knapp,
Eugenie Kinazev,
and my grandfather, Jeremiah Joseph Ahern. Although we never met physically, you will always live in my heart and our family. We love you, and I look forward to meeting you one day.
and my brother, Dennis J. McHugh III. The sounds of your voice has faded over the years, but our hearts will always be filled with the love that we have for you. May you continue to rest in peace and pray for us. We love you and miss you. God bless America.
Andrew James Knox,
Thomas Patrick Knox,
Rebecca Lee Kabori,
Deborah A. Kobus,
Gary Edward Keckler,
Frank J. Costner,
Ryan Cohart,
Vanessa Lynn Shobolo Kolpak,
Irina Kolpakova,
Suzanne Rose Kondratenko,
Abdullah Kone,
Bon Suk Ku,
Dorota Kopitsko,
Scott Michael Kopitko,
Bohan George Kostich,
Danielle Kasulis,
David P. Kovalchin,
John J. Kren,
William Edward Krukowski,
Ludmila Kasita,
Toshia Kuge,
Shekhar Kumar,
Kenneth Bruce Kumpel,
Frederick Kuo Jr.,
Patricia A. Chorus,
Nauka Kushatani,
Thomas Joseph Kuvakis,
Victor Kawarkai,
Raymond Kui Fekwak,
Angela Reed Kite,
Andrew Lacourte,
Carol Ann LaPlante,
Jeffrey G. Latouche,
Catherine L. Labori,
Amarnath Latchman,
Ganesh K. Ladkat,
James Patrick Ladley,
Joseph A. LaFalce,
Jeanette Louise Lafond Medahino,
David James LaForge,
and my grandfather, Philip T. Hayes. Even though I never had the chance to meet you, you will always be my hero. I've heard so many amazing stories about you, and I am blessed to have such a great role model as my grandpa. I miss and love you so much. You are forever in our hearts.
and my aunt Harde Casey Parbu. My family and I miss her so much. She was always filled with so much joy and cared for her loved ones. I am honored to have known her. We truly cherish all the great memories we shared with her. We love you, Auntie Chani. To all the victims and their families, I sincerely hope today you all can find some peace.
Michael Patrick Laforte,
Alan Charles LaFrance,
Juan Mendez Lafuente,
Neil Kwang Wa Lei,
Vincent Anthony Laeta,
William David Lake,
Franco Lalama,
Chow Kwan Lam,
Michael S. Lamana,
Stephen Lamantia,
Amy Hope Lamonsoff,
Robert T. Lane,
Brendan Mark Lang,
Roseanne P. Lang,
Vanessa Lang Langer,
Mary Lou Langley,
Peter J. Langone,
Thomas Michael Langone,
Michelle Bernadette Lanza,
Ruth Sheila Lapton,
Ingeborg A.D. Larrabee,
Robin Blair Larkey,
Judith Camilla LaRoque,
Christopher Randall Larrabee,
Hamadou S. Larry,
Scott Larson,
John Adam Larson,
Natalie Janice Lasden,
Gary Edward Lasco,
Nicholas Craig Lassman,
Paul Lazinski,
Charles A. Lawrencine,
Stephen James Loria,
Maria Lavache,
Dennis Francis Lavelle,
Janine Mary Laverty,
Anna A. Laverty,
Stephen Lawn,
Robert A. Lawrence Jr.,
Nathaniel Lawson,
and my father, Brendan Francis McCabe. I remember the day before 9/11 just as vividly as I remember the 11th itself. My father took me and my brothers to the store to get soccer cleats and clothes for the fall season. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that he would be ripped out of our lives less than 24 hours later. I remember it like it was yesterday, but it's been 20 years. Things have not been the same without you, Dad. You never got to see us grow up, chase our dreams, graduate school. Never got to help us become adults. You never got to see your nieces and nephews and younger cousins grow up and get married and start families of their own. All we have left are memories of you, how amazing you were as a father and a person. It sucks that the younger kids in the family will never ever get to hang out with Uncle Bonebender firsthand. All they have are stories to learn about you from. There's been a lot of pain and heartache over the last 20 years, and we all miss you like crazy every day. From your brothers and sisters, nieces, nephews, your cousins, your wife's son, and your daughter. We all miss you every day, Dad. It sucks that a bunch of cowards had to take the lives of innocent people who were just trying to provide for their family. We'll meet again one day, and it'll be nothing but tears of joy when we do. I love you, Dad. We all do. And I know you're up there looking down on us. Never forget, God bless America, God bless New York, and God bless all the first responders that gave their lives that day. This is our city. You can't take down New York ever.
And my mother, Barbara P. Walsh. After 20 years, Mom, we're still carrying on all the love and the traditions that you've implanted in our hearts. You would think after 20 years, it would get easier. The last 20 years, you lost that on birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, Sunday dinners, celebrating our favorite season, fall, and our lovely Florida vacations, and watching your 8 grandchildren grow up and watching them be born. The missing goes on, and all we have to go on with our lives, we have, and all of your children are successful, and that's a testament to you, Mom. Your absence has created a huge void in our hearts and our lives, and that will never be filled again. We miss you so much, Mom. It's unbearable. God bless America. Please keep us safe. I love you.
David W. Lachak.
Eugene Gabriel Lazar.
James Patrick Leahy.
Joseph Gerard Levy.
Neil J. Levy.
Robert J. LeBlanc.
Leon Labor.
Kenneth Charles Lady.
Alan J. Liederman.
Elena F. Ledesma.
Alexis Leduc.
Daniel John Lee.
David S. Lee.
Dong Shul Lee.
Gary H. Lee.
Hyun Jun Lee.
Juanita Lee.
Catherine Blair Lee.
Linda C. Lee.
Lorraine Mary Green Lee.
Myung Woo Lee.
Richard Y. C. Lee.
Stuart Sujin Lee.
Yang Der Lee.
Stephen Paul Lefkowitz.
Adriana Legro.
Edward Joseph Lehman.
Eric Lerfeld.
David R. Leastman.
David Prudencio Lamagne.
Joseph Anthony Lenahan.
John Joseph Lennon Jr.
John Robinson Lenoir.
Jorge Luis Leon Sr.
Matthew G. Leonard.
Michael Lepore.
Charles A. L'Esperance.
Jeff Levine.
John Dennis Levi.
Alicia Karen Levin.
And my brother-in-law, Alfred Russell Mailer, Big Al. You have been and continue to be missed every single day the last 20 years. We will never forget your life or any of the lives lost on or as a result of or in response to 9/11. But let us also never forget what came right after that horrific day. An unparalleled sense of unity, of pride in and love of our country, of amazing compassion of each other, whether family, friend, or complete stranger. And in our grief and our strength, we were not divided based on our voting preference, the color of our skin, or our moral or religious beliefs. That was the United States I fell in love with, and that's the United States I proudly chose to become a citizen of. God bless all those lives lost, God bless our troops, and God bless America.
I only know you through stories told and your legacy. But I will make sure to let that legacy live on and to never forget you. I am proud to hold your first name as my own, and I am mostly proud to be able to carry on said legacy for generations to come. We love you and we miss you.
Should I start? Neil David Levin.
Robert Levine.
Robert Michael Levine.
Shai Levenhar.
Daniel M. Lewin.
Adam J. Lewis.
Jennifer Lewis.
Kenneth E. Lewis.
Margaret Susan Lewis.
Yi Wei Liang.
Orasiri Liang Fenasarm.
Daniel F. Libretti.
Ralph Michael Lichardi.
Edward Lischine.
Samantha L. Lightborn Allen.
Stephen Barry Lilienthal.
Carlos R. Lillo.
Craig Damian Lalore.
Arner Arboleda Lim.
Daria Lin.
Wei Rong Lin.
Nikki L. Lindo.
Thomas V. Linehan Jr.
Robert Thomas Linane.
Alan Patrick Linton Jr.
Diane Teresa Lipari.
Kenneth P. Lira Aravello.
Francisco Alberto Liriano.
Lorraine Lisi.
Paul Listen.
Vincent M. Lito.
Ming Hao Liu.
Nancy Liz.
Harold Liscano.
Martin Lizzo.
George A. Jonas.
Elizabeth C. Logler.
Catherine Lisa Lagudice.
Jerome Robert Lojas.
Michael William Lomax.
And my brother Abulke Chaudhry. There is not a single day goes by that I don't think of you. Losing such a beautiful soul and a kind spirit more than words can express. If I have known missing you would hurt so much that I wouldn't have let you go. I miss my best friend. You understand and love me unconditionally. You are unreplaceable. All these years since I lost you, I was devastated and hopeless. Although you were gone, but you always have guided me to be strong and courageous to move on. Losing you is a deep pain that is unexplainable. You always will be in my heart and will never be forgotten. I love you deeply, brother. You will be forever with me until we meet again.
And my uncle, Walwyn Wellington Stewart Jr. To this day, we are still inspired by your heroism, kindness, and selflessness. Your memory will live on in our hearts forever. We love you and we miss you so much. Give Nana a hug for us.
I've never spoken
Stephen V. Long.
Laura Maria Longing.
Salvatore P. Lopes.
Daniel Lopez.
George Lopez.
Luis Manuel Lopez.
Maclovio Lopez Jr.
Manuel L. Lopez.
Joseph Lestrangio.
Chet Deck Louis.
Stuart Side Lewis.
Joseph Lavero.
Sarah Elizabeth Lowe.
Jenny Sue Huang Lo Wan.
Michael W. Lowe.
Gary W. Lozer.
John P. Lazowski.
Charles Peter Lucania.
Edward Hobbs Luckett II.
Mark Gavin Ludvigskin.
Lee Charles Ludwig.
Sean Thomas Lugano.
Daniel Lugo.
Marie Lucas.
William Lum Jr.
Michael P. London.
Christopher E. Ludner.
Anthony Luparello.
Gary Frederick Lutnick.
Linda Ann Luzicone.
Alexander Lygen.
Cece Lyles.
Pharrell Peter Lynch.
James Francis Lynch.
James T. Lynch Jr.
Louise A. Lynch.
Michael Cameron Lynch.
Michael Francis Lynch.
Michael Francis Lynch.
Richard D. Lynch Jr.
And my uncle, William Russell Peterson, Uncle Billy. With a spirit and a personality that could fill a room and a smile that was infectious, we miss you every day and hold you close to our hearts. We know you're making the heavens smile and looking down on us, supporting us. Go ahead.
And my grandfather, David Francis Ferrugio. We all miss you, and even I didn't get to meet you, I still love you.
Robert Henry Lynch, Jr.
Sean P. Lynch.
Sean Patrick Lynch.
Terrence M. Lynch.
Michael J. Lyons.
Monica Ann Lyons.
Naheeman Lyons IV.
Patrick John Lyons.
Robert Francis Mace.
Marianne McFarlane.
Jan Matsievsky.
Susan A. Mackey.
William Macco.
Catherine Fairfax McCrae.
Richard Blaine Madden.
Simon Madison.
Noel C. Myers.
Jenny Ann Maffeo.
Joseph Maffeo.
J. Robert Magazine.
Brian McGee.
Charles W. McGee.
Joseph V. McGiddy.
Ronald Magninson.
Daniel L. Mayer.
Thomas A. Mahone.
William J. Mahoney.
Joseph Daniel Mayo.
Linda C. Meyer Grayling.
Takashi Makimoto.
Abdul Ali Malahi.
Deborah I. Maldonado.
Myrna T. Maldonado Augusto.
Alfred Russell Mailer.
Gregory James Malone.
Edward Francis Maloney III.
Joseph E. Maloney.
Jean Edward Malloy.
Christian H. Maltby.
Francisco Miguel Mancini.
And my brother, David William Nelson, who stood for what he believed in, even when it was not popular or comfortable. David, I miss you hard every day.
and my father, Alan Wisniewski. Dad, we miss you and love you. Your beautiful spirit and legacy live on in all of us. Continue to watch over us and guide us on this journey through life. And may you always rest in eternal peace. And God bless our troops and the United States of America.
Joseph Mangano.
Sarah Elizabeth Manley.
Deborah M. Manetta.
Marion Victoria Manning.
Terrence John Manning.
James Maunis.
Alfred Giles Padre Joseph Marchand.
Joseph Ross Marchbanks Jr.
Laura A. Marchese.
Hilda Marson.
Peter Edward Mardikian.
Edward Joseph Mardovich.
Charles Joseph Maggiata.
Louis Neil Mariani.
Kenneth Joseph Marino.
Lester V. Marino.
Vita Marino.
Kevin D. Marlowe.
Jose Juan Marrero.
John Daniel Marshall.
Shelley A. Marshall.
James Martello.
Michael A. Marty.
Karen Ann Martin.
Peter C. Martin.
Brian E. Martineau.
William J. Martin Jr.
Edward J. Martinez.
Betsy Martinez.
Robert Gabriel Martinez.
Jose Angel Martinez Jr.
Lizzie D. Martinez Calderon.
Waleska Martinez.
Anne Marie Martino Kramer.
Paul Richard Martini.
Bernard Mascarenas.
Joseph A. Mascali.
Ada L. Mason Acker.
Stephen Frank Macy. And my mother, Dorothy R. Morgan. You are loved and missed dearly. Thank you for continuously watching over me and your grandchildren. We love you.
And my father, William Lawrence Fallon Jr., he was an incredible husband and brother and son and father, and would have been an incredible grandfather. I know he would have loved his granddaughters. For the people here, for the family members who are still hurting, that they don't get to have the rest of your life, that the enemies and the terrorists don't get to take the rest of your life away from you. I pray for healing. I pray for hope. I pray for peace, that you find it. For our country, from our government down to our local communities, that we remember 9/11, and when we say never forget, that it's not just a word or a catchy phrase, that it's that we never forget the American unity that we felt after those days. That's what mattered. It was the response, and we can get there, and that we value our American lives more than just whose side are you on, left or right, and whatever else. God bless America, and God bless our military.
Nicholas George Massa.
Patricia Ann Cimaroli Masari.
Michael Massaroli.
Philip William Mastrandrea Jr.
Rudy Mastro Cinque.
Joseph Mathai.
Charles William Mathers.
William A. Matheson.
Marcelo Matriciano.
Margaret Elaine Mattick.
Dean E. Matson.
Robert D. Matson.
Walter A. Matuza Jr.
Timothy J. Maud.
Jill Moorer Campbell.
Charles A. Morrow, Jr.
Charles J. Morrow.
Dorothy Morrow.
Nancy T. Morrow.
Robert J. Maxwell.
Renee A. May.
Tyrone May.
Keithroy Marcellus Maynard.
Robert J. Mayo.
Kathy N. Mazza.
Edward Mazzella, Jr.
Jennifer Lynn Mazzotta.
Karya Mumbaya.
James Joseph McAllery, Jr.
Brian Gerard McAleese.
Patricia Ann McKenney.
Colin R. MacArthur.
John Kevin McAvoy.
Kenneth M. McBrayer.
Brendan F. McCabe.
Michael McCabe.
Thomas Joseph McCann.
Justin McCarthy.
Kevin M. McCarthy.
Michael Desmond McCarthy.
And my uncle, Port Authority Police Officer Alphonse Joseph Niedermeyer III, who I miss and love very much.
And my father, Gary Harold. Dad, we miss you every day. Please continue to watch over us, especially your 3 grandchildren and the new one on the way. I speak to my kids all the time about you. They know how Pop was a hero who helped many of people down on that horrible day. Lucas has your sweet personality. Ashlyn is strong, sassy, and funny, and Declan could be your twin. Thank you for always being my guiding light and helping me to stay strong. I hope I could be half the parent that you were to us. I miss you every day.
Shall we remove?
Wait. Robert G. McCarthy.
Stanley McCaskill.
Katie Marie McCloskey.
Juliana Valentine McCourt.
Ruth Madeline McCourt.
Charles Austin McCrane.
Tonielle F. McDay.
Matthew T. McDermott.
Joseph P. McDonald.
Brian Grady McDonald.
Michael P. McDonald.
John F. McDowell Jr.
Eamon J. McEnany.
John Thomas McErlin Jr.
Daniel Francis McGinley.
Mark Ryan McGinley.
William E. McGinn.
Thomas Henry McGinnis.
Michael Gregory McGinty.
Ann Walls McGovern.
Scott Martin McGovern.
William J. McGovern.
Stacy Senes McGowan.
Francis Noel McGinn.
Thomas F. McGinnis, Jr.
Patrick J. McGuire.
Thomas M. McHale.
Keith David McHeafe.
Ann M. McHugh.
Dennis J. McHugh III.
Dennis P. McHugh.
Michael Edward McHugh Jr.
Robert G. McIlvain.
Donald James McIntyre.
Stephanie Marie McKenna.
Molly L. McKenzie.
Barry J. McKeon.
Evelyn C. McKennedy.
Daryl LaRon McKinney,
George Patrick McLaughlin, Jr.,
and my beloved late husband, Sean Gordon Corbett O'Neill. Beautiful Sean, you are always with us through the eyes of your incredible daughter and all around us, forever and eternal.
And to my cousin and my best friend, Lucia Crifasi. Lucy, it's been 20 years today that you are gone, but these years will never erase the memories we shared. You are a special friend I ever had, who cannot be replaced. Our lives move on, but your happy memories are still with us. I am glad I am still in touch with your sister Maria, your brother Frank, and our best friends, Nadine, Betsy, and Lily Wilson. I love you, and I really, really miss you. Ciao, Bella.
Robert C. McLaughlin, Jr.
Gavin McMahon.
Robert D. McMahon.
Edmund M. McNally.
Daniel Walker McNeil.
Walter Arthur McNeil.
Christine Sheila McNulty.
Sean Peter McNulty.
Robert William McPadden.
Terrence A. McShane.
Timothy Patrick McSweeney.
Martin E. Williams.
Rocco A. Medalgia.
Abigail Medina.
Anna Iris Medina.
Damian Meehan.
William J. Meehan, Jr.
Alok Kumar Mehta.
Raymond Meisenheimer.
Manuel Emilio Mejia.
Escadar Malacu.
Antonio Melendez.
Mary P. Melendez.
Christopher D. Mello.
Yelena Melanichenko.
Stuart Todd Meltzer.
D'Aurelia Giovanna Mena.
Dora Marie Menchaca.
Charles R. Mendez.
Lizette Mendoza.
Siobhan Alicia Mentes.
Wolfgang Peter Menzel.
Steve John Mercado.
Wilfredo Mercado.
Wesley Mercer.
Ralph Joseph Mercurio.
Alan Harvey Merdinger.
George L. Marino.
Yamel Josephina Marino.
George Mercuris.
And my cousin, Gary Michael Albero. Gary, our family misses your love, laughter, and smile. You live in each and every one of us every day. We love you, and please give Dad a hug for us. God bless you all, and God bless America.
And my grandfather, Battalion Chief Lawrence T. Stack. 20 years ago, I met my grandfather, B.C. Lawrence T. Stack. He held me in his arms, his first of 6 grandchildren. 7 days later, he was gone from the city and family he loved. We will love and miss you forever. Never forget 9/11 and the first responders who protect our city every day. We thank our military and our first responders to our country, and God bless America. Thank you.
Deborah Merrick.
Raymond Joseph Metz III.
Jill Ann Metzler.
David Robert Meyer.
Nurul H. Mia.
William Edward Michuli.
Martin Paul Michaelstein.
Patricia E. Mickley.
Ronald D. Milam.
Peter Teague Milano.
Gregory Milanowicz.
Lukasz Tomasz Milewski.
Sharon Christina Milan.
Corey Peter Miller.
Craig J. Miller.
Douglas C. Miller.
Henry Alfred Miller, Jr.
Joel Miller.
Michael Matthew Miller.
Nicole Carol Miller.
Philip D. Miller.
Robert Allen Miller.
Robert Cromwell Miller, Jr.,
Benny Millman,
Charles M. Mills, Jr.,
Ronald Keith Milstein,
Robert J. Manera,
William George Minardi,
Louis Joseph Minervino,
Thomas Mingion,
Wilbert Morale,
Dominic N. Mirkovich,
Rajef Arjan Mirpuri,
Joseph D. Mistrudi,
Susan J. Miskowicz,
Paul Thomas Mitchell,
Richard P. Muccio,
Jeffrey Peter Mladinik,
Frank V. Mochia, Sr.,
Louis Joseph Moraferri,
and my father, Charles Augustus Lorenzen. Your strength continues to motivate us. May we continue to make you proud. We love you, Dad. We miss you. Until we meet again.
and to my father, Daniel Lopez. He was the coolest guy in the block from his neighborhood of Los Sures, Brooklyn, a tragic and beautiful Puerto Rican neighborhood. He was the best house DJ that New York ever saw. Y era boricua, pa que tú lo sepa. He taught me to be proud of my heritage and my blood, and will always charge forwards with that. Thank you.
Boyi Muhammad.
Dennis Mojica.
Manuel de Mojica Jr.
Kleber Rolanda Molina.
Manuel de Jesus Molina.
Carl Molinaro.
Justin John Molisani Jr.
Brian Patrick Monaghan.
Franklin Monahan.
John Gerard Monahan.
Kristen Lee Montanaro.
Craig Montano.
Michael G. Montesi.
Carlos Alberto Beto Montoya.
Antonio de Jesus Montoya Valdez.
Cheryl Ann Moniak.
Thomas Carlo Moody.
Sharon Moore.
Krishna V. Morthy.
Laura Lee DeFazio Morabito.
Abner Morales.
Carlos Manuel Morales.
Paula E. Morales.
Sonia Mercedes Morales Papalo.
Gerard P. Moran Jr.
John Christopher Moran.
John Michael Moran.
Kathleen Moran.
Lindsay Stapleton Morehouse.
George William Morell.
Stephen P. Morello.
Vincent S. Morello.
Yvette Nicole Marino.
Dorothy Morgan.
Richard J. Morgan.
Nancy Morgenstern.
Sane More.
Blanca Robertino Moracho Moracho.
Leonel Hermano Moracho Moracho.
Dennis Gerard Moroni.
And my aunt, Daphne Paletzis. Saza, losing you was a nightmare, and we mourn every laugh, every smile, and every story that now we will never be able to share with you. In their place, an emptiness that will never be filled. Simply put, you were the best person we ever knew, and we were so lucky to have you in our lives. Every moment was a joy, each memory a gift that we will always treasure. And for as dark as that day was, to know you was to know a love and a light that shines so much brighter.
And to my grandfather, Battalion Chief John Joseph Jack Fanning of Hazmat Operations, FDNY. My hero I never got to meet. I know so much about you because you're still talked about every single day. Please continue to watch over Daddy, Uncle Jeremy, and Jackie, the rest of the family, and I. You are so missed by all of us and may be gone, but will never be forgotten. I love you always, and I'm so proud to be your granddaughter. Rest in peace, Grandpa.
Lynn Irene Morris.
Odessa V. Morris.
Seth Allen Morris.
Steve Morris.
Christopher Martel Morrison.
Ferdinand V. Marone.
William David Moskal.
Brian A. Moss.
Marco Matroni.
Cynthia Motis Wilson.
Yuri A. Muchinsky.
Jude Joseph Musa.
Peter Mudis.
Damian O'Neill Mowat.
Teddington H. Moy.
Christopher Michael Mozillo.
Stephen Vincent Muldery.
Richard T. Modanley Jr.
Michael D. Mullen.
Dennis Michael Mulligan.
Peter James Mulligan.
Michael Joseph Mullen.
James Donald Munhall.
Nancy Muniz.
Francisco Eladio Muñez.
Carlos Mario Munoz.
Teresa Munson.
Robert Michael Murdoch.
Cesar Augusto Murillo.
Mark A. Murillo.
Brian Joseph Murphy.
Charles Anthony Murphy.
Christopher W. Murphy.
Edward Charles Murphy.
James F. Murphy IV.
James Thomas Murphy.
Kevin James Murphy.
Patrick Jude Murphy.
Patrick Sean Murphy.
Raymond E. Murphy.
And my grandfather, James Anthony Trentini, and my grandmother, Mary Barbara Trentini. We miss you and love you so much. We wish we had more time with you, and I know you're looking over us every day. We love you.
And my brother, Manuel Gomez Jr., Manny as he was known, to family and friends, loved piloting his airline, his plane, riding his motorcycles, scuba diving, and loved being in field service with his friends. He was a adventurous, loving, and a God-fearing man. We all miss Manny, remember him, especially Mom, who's watching today from Puerto Rico, his two nephews, Stephen and Michael. But most importantly, he's remembered by Jehovah God, as are all the victims. And we have faith in the promise he has and mentioned in the book of John, chapter 5, verse 28 and 29. Hasta la resurrección, mi hermano.
Robert Eddie Murphy, Jr.
John Joseph Murray.
John Joseph Murray.
Susan D. Murray.
Valerie Victoria Murray.
Richard Todd Myrie.
Louis J. Nackey II.
Robert B. Nagel.
Mildred Rose Naiman.
Takuya Nakamura.
Alexander John Robert Napier.
Frank Joseph Naples III.
John Philip Napolitano.
Catherine Ann Nardella.
Mario Nardone, Jr.
Monica K. Narula.
Sean M. Nasani.
Narendra Nath.
Karen Susan Navarro.
Joseph M. Navis.
Francis Joseph Nazareo.
Glenroy I. Neblett.
Raymond Marcus Neblett.
Jerome O. Ned.
Lawrence F. Nadell.
Luke G. Nee.
Pete Negron.
Lori Ann Nera.
Ann N. Nelson.
David William Nelson.
Ginger Risco Nelson.
James A. Nelson.
Michelle Ann Nelson.
Peter Allen Nelson.
Oscar Francis Nesbitt.
Gerard Terrence Nevins.
Renee Taltrop Newell.
Christopher C. Newton.
Christopher Newton Carter.
Nancy Ewan Nago.
And my younger brother, Michael Cameron Lynch. He was a wonderful son, brother, husband, and father. We miss him every day. I know you must be so proud, as I am, of your beautiful daughter, Caroline, your wonderful nephew, Paul, and your niece, Cassidy, who's a sergeant in the Army. We love you, Morty. You're always in our hearts. God bless America.
And my beloved husband, Derek James Statkavicus. Tyler, Chase, and I miss you and love you very much.
Ready? Kong Neguk Nigoyen.
Jody Tepedino Nichilo.
Kathleen Ann Nicosia.
Martin Stewart Niederer.
Alphonse Joseph Niedermeyer.
Frank John Niestat Jr.
Gloria Nieves.
Juan Nieves Jr.
Troy Edward Nilsson.
Paul Nimbley.
John Valentine Niven.
Catherine McGarry Nowak.
Curtis Terrence Noel.
Michael A. Noth.
Jacqueline June Norton.
Robert Walter Noonan.
Daniela Rosalia Notaro.
Robert Grant Norton.
Soichi Numata.
Brian Christopher Navanti.
Jose Nunez.
Brian Nunez.
James A. Oakley.
Jeffrey Roger Nussbaum.
James P. O'Brien Jr.
Dennis Patrick Oberg.
Scott J. O'Brien.
Michael P. O'Brien.
Daniel O'Callahan.
Timothy Michael O'Brien.
Diana J. O'Connor.
Dennis James O'Connor Jr.
Richard J. O'Connor.
Keith Kevin O'Connor.
Marnie Pont O'Doherty.
Amy O'Doherty.
Takashi Ogawa.
Douglas E. Elschlager.
And my cousin, who was like a sister to me, Derelia Giovanna Mena. Your daughter, your sister, your mother, aunts, uncles, and many, many, many cousins miss you terribly. We hope to see you again one day. Siempre vivirás en nuestros corazones y nuestros pensamientos.
Albert Ogletree, and my hero, and my father, Donald H. Gregory. My dad was a gregarious yet sensitive man who had a great sense of humor and a deep love for his family and friends. He loved his job and his peers at Cantor Fitzgerald, but he knew how to come off the train, leaving work at work, and engage and connect with us. A few weeks before September 11th, he had a heart-to-heart talk with me about how he wanted to prioritize his health so that he could be there for my sister, brother, and I throughout our milestones of marriage and children. Although he wasn't here with us, he was never missing in our hearts. The legacy of his life lives on with all those who miss him, and now with his 5 grandchildren who will learn to love their Grandpa Don through shared stories. It is only with acts of kindness, charity, and love that we can negate the intentions of those who wanted to bring down this country, and this will be what we will teach our children. I am deeply grateful to all those who have served and sacrificed to protect our country, especially in Afghanistan, and to those who are still suffering from 9/11 related physical and mental illness. You are not forgotten or alone. I pray that we can once again be the country we were on September 12th. Dad, I love you and I miss you always.
Philip Paul Onibene.
John A. Oganoski.
James Andrew O'Grady.
Joseph J. Ogren.
Thomas G. O'Hagan.
Samuel Otis.
Patrick J. O'Keefe.
William O'Keefe.
Gerald Michael Alcott.
Gerard Thomas O'Leary.
Christine Ann Olander.
Linda Mary Oliva.
Edward K. Oliver.
Leah Elizabeth Oliver.
Eric Todd Olson.
Jeffrey James Olson.
Barbara K. Olson.
Maureen Lyons Olson.
Stephen John Olson.
Matthew Timothy O'Mahony.
Tashahiro Anda.
Seamus L. O'Neill.
John P. O'Neill.
Peter J. O'Neill Jr.
Sean Gordon Corbett O'Neill.
Betty Ann Ong.
Michael C. Opperman.
Christopher T. Orgilowitz.
Margaret Quinn Arlowski.
Virginia Ann Ormiston.
Ruben S. Ornado.
Kevin M. O'Rourke.
Ronald Orsini.
Peter Keith Ortali.
Juan Ortega Campos.
Jane Marie Orth.
Alexander Ortiz.
David Ortiz.
Emilio Pete Ortiz.
Pablo Ortiz.
And my uncle, Matthew J. Burke. Your memory and legacy are forever preserved through family and friends. God bless you, and God bless America.
And my brother, firefighter Michael Francis Lynch. We know what you were doing on that day, and your boys are doing beautifully. Michael and Jack, we're so proud of Denise. Jack was 6 months old, and Michael was 3 years old when you were murdered. And all we do now is tell them about your past glory days.
Paul Ortiz Jr.
Sonia Ortiz.
Masaru Ose.
Patrick J. O'Shea.
Robert William O'Shea.
Elsie Carolina Osorio Oliva.
James R. Ostrowski.
Timothy Franklin O'Sullivan.
Jason Douglas Oswald.
Michael John Oten.
Isidro D. Ottenwalder.
Michael Shung U.
Tar Joseph Oida.
Jesus Ovales.
Peter J. Owens Jr.
Adianes Oyoya.
Angel M. Pabon Jr.
Israel Pabon Jr.
Roland Pacheco.
Michael Benjamin Packer.
Diana B. Padro.
Deepa Pakala.
Jeffrey Matthew Palazzo.
Thomas Palazzo.
Richard A. Palazzolo.
Oreo Joseph Palmer.
Frank Anthony Palumbo.
Alan N. Palumbo.
Christopher Matthew Pennetier.
Dominique Lisa Pandolfo.
Jonas Martin Panig.
Paul J. Hansini.
John M. Paulijo.
Edward Joseph Papa.
Salvatore T. Papaso.
James Nicholas Papa George.
Marie Papalardo.
Vinod Kumar Parakat.
Vijay Ashankar Paramsathi.
Nitin Ramesh Parankar.
And my uncle Alejandro Cordero. Even though your three nieces, Leah, Mila, and I, did not meet you, we still feel like you're here with us. We cherish you in our hearts forever, and we love you. You are dearly missed by Mama Tere, Papa Moises, your brothers, and the whole Cordero family. We love you.
And my father, Glenn Davis Kerwin. We love you, we miss you, You inspire me to wear the uniform every day. Gary Owen.
Hardai Parbu.
James Wendell Parham.
Deborah Marie Harris.
George Paris.
Guy Young Park.
Philip Lacey Parker.
Michael Elaine Parks.
Robert E. Parks, Jr.
Hashmukh C. Parmar.
Robert Paro.
Diane Marie Parsons.
Leobardo Lopez Pascual.
Michael J. Pascuma, Jr.
Gerald Hughes Paskins.
Horace Robert Pasananti.
Suzanne H. Passaro.
Avnish Ramanbai Patel.
Dipti Patel.
Manish Patel.
Stephen Bennett Patterson.
James Matthew Patrick.
Manuel D. Patricino.
Bernard E. Patterson.
Clifford L. Patterson, Jr.
Sierra Marie Patty.
Robert E. Pattison.
James Robert Paul.
Patrice Paz.
Victor Hugo Paz.
Stacy Lynn Peak.
Richard Allen Perlman.
Darrell V. Pearsall, Jr.
Thomas Nicholas Pecorelli.
Thomas Pedicini.
Todd Douglas Pelino.
Mike Adrian Pelletier.
Anthony G. Peluso.
Angel R. Pena.
Robert Penninger.
Richard Al Penny.
And my father, Patrick Joseph Busey.
And my uncle, Ronald L. Gamboa.
Salvatore F. Pepe.
Carl Allen B. Peralta.
Robert David Peraza.
John A. Perconte, Jr.
Alejo Perez.
Angel Perez, Jr.
Angela Susan Perez.
Anthony Perez.
Ivan Antonio Perez.
Nancy E. Perez.
Barry Barrison Perkins.
Joseph John Perencino.
Edward J. Parada.
Imelda H. Perry.
Glenn C. Perry Sr.
John William Perry.
Franklin Allen Pership.
Danny Pesci.
Michael John Peshreen.
Davin N. Peterson.
Donald Arthur Peterson.
Jean Hoadley Peterson.
William Russell Peterson.
Mark James Petrocelli.
Philip Scott Petty.
Glenn Karen Pettit.
Dominic A. Pizzulo.
Kayleen Elizabeth Pizzuti.
Kevin J. Pfeiffer.
Tuan Pham.
Kenneth John Phelan Sr.
Snay Ann Phillip.
Eugenia McCann Piantieri.
Ludwig John Picaro.
Matthew Picerno.
Joseph O. Pick.
Christopher J. Pickford.
Dennis J. Pierce.
Bernard Petronico.
Nicholas P. Pietrunti.
And my loving father, John Scharf, thank you for watching over me, your family, and your future grandchild. We miss you and we love you.
And my uncle, Brent James Woodall.
Theodorus Higgis.
Susan Elizabeth Pinto.
Joseph Piscadlo.
Christopher Todd Pittman.
Joshua Michael Piver.
Robert R. Plager III.
Sandra F. Plager.
Joseph Plumatalo,
John M. Pocher,
William Howard Pullman,
Lawrence Michael Polich,
Thomas H. Polhamus,
Steve Policino,
Susan M. Polio,
Darren H. Pontel,
Joshua Iusa Poptine,
Giovanna Horace,
Anthony Portillo,
James Edward Patorti,
Daphne Pilatus,
Richard N. Holas,
Stephen Emmanuel Poulos,
Brandon Jerome Howell,
Scott Allen Powell,
Sean Edward Powell,
Antonio Dorsey Pratt,
Gregory M. Preziosi,
Wanda Evelise Prince,
Vincent A. Princiota,
Kevin M. Pryor,
Everett Martin Proctor III,
Carrie Beth Prosian,
David Lee Kroon,
Richard A. Prunty,
John Foster Puckett,
Robert David Pugliese,
Edward F. Hullis,
Patricia Ann Puma,
Jack D. Punches,
Hemeth Kumar Putor,
and my husband Patrick Sean Murphy. We will continue to live your legacy of love, good humor, and generosity. Thank you to my family and friends who've loved and supported me, Maggie, and Sean for the past 20 years. And thank you to our brave men and women in uniform for your courageous service and sacrifice. You are our real heroes. Thank you.
and my brother, Bart Joseph Ruggieri. I speak for all of us who knew and loved Bart when I say that 32 years was not enough and 20 years feels like yesterday. We remain forever inspired by his spirit, embodied in his favorite quote, "Life is not measured by the numbers of breaths you take, but by the moments that take your breath away." And a heartfelt thank you from all of us to our amazing first responders and our brave military service men and women who have kept the rest of us safe from terror on our homeland these past 20 years. May God bless you all.
Joseph J. Parcier, Jr.,
Edward R. Pycon,
Christopher Quackenbush,
Lars Peter Quailben,
Lincoln Quapp,
Beth Ann Quigley,
Patrick J. Quigley IV,
Michael T. Quilty,
James Francis Quinn,
Ricardo J. Quinn,
Carol Millicent Rabelais,
Christopher Peter Anthony Raccaniello,
Leonard J. Reglia,
Eugene J. Ruggiero, right.
Laura Marie Raganisi,
Michael Paul Ragusa,
Peter Frank Ramundi,
Harry A. Rains,
Lisa J. Rains,
Ethism Raja,
Valsa Raja,
Edward J. Rail,
Lucas Rambusik,
Maria Ramses,
Harry Ramsons,
Vishnu Ramsarup,
Deborah A. Ramsar,
Lorenzo E. Ramsey,
Alfred Todd Ranke,
Adam David Rand,
Jonathan C. Randall,
Sharius S. Rangnig,
Ann T. Ransom,
Fiona Rappaport,
Rhonda Sue Rem Eason,
Robert A. Rasmussen,
Amnia Razul,
R. Mark Russwheeler,
Marcia D. Ratchford,
David Allen James Rathke,
and for my grandfather, Michael Sam Phillip, who I was never able to meet, but I'm pretty sure we would have had a lot of fun together.
and my brother, Dennis Gerard Taramina Jr., and his brother-in-law, Thomas V. Lenahan Jr. Thomas, we love you and miss you every day. The memories of the Flash comic books, Dennis, the Hotel California song, just all the memories. To quote my brother Phil, keep the Sam Adams on ice until we meet again. Dennis and Tom, this is for you.
William Ralph Robb,
Gerard F. Rousey,
Alexei Razuviev,
Gregory Rita,
Sarah Ann Redheffer,
Michelle Marie Reed,
Judith Ann Reese,
Donald J. Regan,
Robert M. Regan,
Thomas Michael Regan,
Christian Michael Otto Regenhard,
Howard Reich,
Craig Reedy,
James Brian Riley,
Kevin O. Riley,
Timothy R. Riley,
Joseph Reyna Jr.,
Thomas Barnes Reinig,
Frank Bennett Reisman,
Joshua Scott Reese,
Karen Renda,
John Armand Rio,
Richard Cyril Rescorla,
John Thomas Resta,
Sylvia Sanpio Resta,
Martha M. Reski,
David E. Reddick,
Todd H. Rubin,
Luis Clodoaldo Revilla Mir,
Eduviges Reyes Jr.,
Bruce Albert Reynolds,
John Frederick Rhodes,
Francis Severio Riccardelli,
Rudolph N. Riccio,
Anne Marie Riccoboni,
David Harlow Rice,
Eileen Mary Rice,
Kenneth Frederick Rice III,
Cecilia E. Richard,
Vernon Allen Richard,
and my father, Port Authority Police Officer Paul Lazinski. We miss you. We love you. Amy and I know that your grandchildren, Samantha, Jack, Lily, and Daphne, are all in the arms of an angel. God bless America. God bless our law enforcement.
and my husband, Stephen Goldstein. Steve, I still see your face every single day when I look at Hannah and Harris. They are the living representation of all that was good in you. We miss you and we love you.
Like
okay. You can take it.
I go now? Claude Daniel Richards.
Gregory David Richards.
Michael Richards.
Vanessa Orincia Richards.
Firefighter Jimmy Richies.
Alan J. Richmond.
John M. Rigo.
Frederick Charles Ramelli III.
Rose Mary Riso.
Moises N. Rivas.
Joseph R. Ravelli Jr.
Carmen Alicia Rivera.
Isaias Rivera.
Juan William Rivera.
Linda Evelise Rivera.
David E. Rivers.
Joseph R. Reverso.
Paul V. Ritza.
John Frank Rizzo.
Stephen Louis Roche.
Joseph Roberto.
Leo Arthur Roberts.
Michael E. Roberts.
Michael Edward Roberts.
Donald Walter Robertson Jr.
Jeffrey Robinson.
Michelle Lee Jean Robotham.
Donald Arthur Robson.
Antonio A. Rocha.
Raymond James Rocha.
Laura Rockefeller.
John Michael Rodock.
Antonio Jose Rodriguez.
Anthony Rodriguez.
Carmen Milagros Rodriguez.
Gregory E. Rodriguez.
Marsha A. Rodriguez.
Myra Valdez Rodriguez.
Richard Rodriguez.
David Bartolo Rodriguez Vargas.
And my brother, firefighter Gregory Thomas Saucedo, Ladder Company 5. Greg, we lived together 31 years. I didn't go more than 20 days without seeing each other. I love and I miss you. Can't believe it's 20 years.
And my uncle and godfather, Richard Joseph Cadena. You are missed by all, loved by everyone, and your memories are what keep us laughing, believing, and living as if we were to live 100 years but die tomorrow. Keep showing us signs. We need them always. We love and miss you. God bless America.
Matthew Rogan.
Jean Destrehan Roger.
Carly Rogers.
Scott William Roner.
Keith Michael Roma.
Joseph M. Romanaglo.
Efrain Romero Sr.
Elvin Romero.
James A. Romero.
Sean Paul Rooney.
Eric Thomas Rapito.
Aida Rosario.
Angela Rosario.
Mark H. Rosen.
Brooke David Rosenbaum.
Linda Rosenbaum.
Cheryl Lynn Rosenbaum.
Lloyd Daniel Rosenberg.
Mark Louis Rosenberg.
Andrew Ira Rosenblum.
Joshua M. Rosenblum.
Joshua Allen Rosenthal.
Richard David Rosenthal.
Philip Martin Rosenweig.
Danielle Rossetti.
Richard Barry Ross.
Norman S. Rossino.
Nicholas P. Rosamondo.
Michael Craig Rodberg.
Donna Marie Rothenberg.
Mark David Rothenberg.
James Michael Rowe.
Nicholas Charles Alexander Rowe.
Edward V. Rowenhorst.
Judy Roulette.
Timothy Allen Roy Sr.
Paul G. Rubeck.
Ronald J. Rubin.
Joanne Rubino.
David M. Ruddle.
And my lovely mother, Griselda E. Garrow James. I miss you every day, and I wish you were here to meet your grandchildren. We miss you.
And my beloved and elegant father, Gerald Michael Alcott. You are missed and loved beyond words. Your legacy continues on through your children and your 8 grandchildren. Until we meet again, may God bless America. May freedom reign, and may peace be with you all.
Bart Joseph Ruggier,
Susan A. Ruggiero,
Adam Keith Rualter,
Gilbert Ruiz,
Robert E. Russell,
Stephen P. Russell,
Stephen Harris Russin,
Michael Thomas Russo Sr.,
Wayne Allen Russo,
William R. Ruth,
Edward Ryan,
John Joseph Ryan,
Jonathan Stephen Ryan,
Matthew L. Ryan,
Tatiana Rishova,
Christina Sunga Ryuk,
Terry Sada,
Jason Alizar Sabag,
Thomas E. Sabella,
Scott H. Saber,
Charles E. Sabin Sr.,
Joseph Francis Sacerdote,
Jessica Lee Sachs,
Francis John Seducha,
Jude Elias Safi,
Brock Joel Safranoff,
Edward Saya,
John Patrick Salamone,
Marjorie C. Salamone,
Hernando Rafael Salas,
Juan G. Salas,
Esmerlin Antonio Salcedo,
John Pepe Salerno,
Rama Sally and her unborn child,
Richard L. Salinardi Jr.,
Wayne John Salomon,
Norbert Salomon,
Catherine Patricia Salter,
Frank G. Salvatierra,
Paul Richard Salvio,
and my aunt Gavharai Kamardinova. Not a day goes by without you being missed and loved. I've never gotten to meet you, but I'm sure we would have gotten along so well with you as my aunt. You have gone too soon, but the memory of you will forever be in our hearts.
and my husband, Michael Joseph Zinzi. Your family and friends love you and miss you. Your mom is now reunited with you. Please continue to watch over our 20-year-old son, Dean Michael. He is just like you in many ways. He is amazing. Love you, and God bless America.
Samuel Robert Salvo, Jr.
Carlos Alberto Samaniego.
John P. Sammartino.
James Kenneth Samuel, Jr.
Michael San Philip.
Hugo M. Sané.
Alva Cynthia Jeffries Sanchez.
Jacqueline Patrice Sanchez.
Jesus Sanchez.
Raymond Sanchez.
Eric M. Sand.
Stacy Leigh Sanders.
Herman S. Sandler.
Jim Sanders, Jr.
Aileen J. Santiago.
Kirsten Reese Santiago.
Maria Teresa Conception Santillan.
Susan Gail Santo.
Christopher A. Santora.
John August Santor.
Mario L. Santoro.
Rafael Umberto Santos.
Rufino C. F. Santos III.
Victor J. Saraceni.
Kalyan K. Sakar.
Chappelle Renee Stewart Sarker.
Paul F. Sarl.
Deepika Kumar Satalore.
Gregory Thomas Cicedo.
Susan M. Sauer.
Anthony Savas.
Vladimir Savakin.
John Michael Scarborough.
David M. Scales.
Robert Louis Scandol.
Michelle Scarapita.
Dennis Scalzo.
John Albert Shart.
John G. Scharf.
Said Fred C. Sheffield, Jr.
Angela Susan Scheinberg.
Scott Mitchell Schertzer.
Sean Shelke,
Stephen Francis Schlag,
Robert A. Schlegel,
John Schissel,
Karen Helene Schmidt,
Ian Schneider,
Thomas G. Scholes,
Frank G. Schott Jr.,
Gerard Patrick Schrang,
Jeffrey H. Schreier,
John T. Schroeder,
Susan Lee Laspa Schuler,
Edward W. Shunk,
Mark Evan Schermeyer,
John Burkhart Schwartz,
Mark Schwartz,
Adrian Victoria Civetta,
Raphael Skorka,
and my father, Angel Penna.
and my father, Arthur Warren Scullin, Vietnam veteran, Seabees Da Nang, Executive Tax Director, Marcia McClellan, member of the Ancient Order of Hibernians, whose 18 members were lost on September 11th, proud son, loving husband, proud father, uncle, and cousin, defender of the faith, and good friend. And on this day, as I said to my loving son Ethan and Maureen last night, do not grieve, for we all shine on like the moon and the stars and the sun. Thank you.
You ready? Janice M. Scott,
Randolph Scott,
Christopher J. Scudder,
Arthur Warren Scullin,
Michael H. Seaman,
Margaret M. Steeliger,
Anthony Segarra,
Carlos Segarra,
Jason M. Sexer,
Matthew Carmen Solito,
Michael L. Selvis,
Howard Selwyn,
Larry John Senko,
Arturo Angelo Sereno,
Frankie Serrano,
Marion H. Serva,
Elena Seshanova,
Adele Christine Sessa,
Sita Nirmala Sunareen,
Karen Lynn Seymour,
Davis Greer Cessna Jr.,
Thomas Joseph Scroy,
Jayas Shantalal Shah,
Khalid M. Shahid,
Mohammed Shahjahan,
Gary Shamai,
Earl Richard Shanahan,
Dan F. Shanauer,
Neil G. Shastri,
Catherine Ann Schatzoff,
Barbara A. Shaw,
Jeffrey James Shaw,
Robert John Shea Jr.,
Daniel James Shea,
Joseph Patrick Shea,
Kathleen Shearer,
Robert M. Shearer,
Linda June Sheehan,
Hagay Sheffy,
Antoinette M. Sherman,
John Anthony Sherry,
Atsushi Shiratori,
Thomas Joseph Schubert,
Mark Schulman,
C. Wong Shum,
Alan Abraham Schwartzstein,
Claren Shelley Siegel Schwartz,
Joanna Sigmund,
Diane T. Signer,
Gregory Sikorsky,
Stephen Gerard Siller,
David Silver,
Craig A. Silverstein,
Nasima H. Simji,
Bruce Edward Simmons,
Diane M. Simmons,
Donald M. Simmons,
George W. Simmons,
Arthur Simon,
Kenneth Allen Simon,
and my husband, Mark Lawrence Charette. Mark, your whole family loves you and misses you every single day. Your legacy lives on in your 3 children. They are so much like you. I can still feel you watching over us. I will love you forever.
and my father, Joseph P. McDonald.
I miss you every day and wish you were here to experience all of life's moments with me. I miss your smile, your hugs, and your never-ending jokes. 7 years was not enough time together, but I'm grateful for my memories of you and the stories that I hear about you from my family members, which make me feel like you're still here. I love you, and I try my best to live up to your legacy every day.
Michael J. Simon.
Paul Joseph Simon.
Marianne LaCory Simone.
Barry Simowitz.
Jane Louise Simpkin.
Jeff Lyle Simpson.
Cheryl D. Sincock.
Kamlade Kami Singh.
Roshan Ramesh Singh.
Thomas E. Sinton III.
Peter A. Syracuse.
Muriel F. Siskopoulos.
Joseph Michael Sisolak.
John P. Scala.
Francis Joseph Skidmore Jr.
Toyena Corliss Skinner.
Paul Albert Skrizpek.
Christopher Paul Slattery.
Vincent Robert Slavin.
Robert F. Sluwak.
Paul Kenneth Sloan.
Stanley S. Smagala Jr.
Wendy L. Small.
Greg H. Smallwood.
Catherine T. Smith.
Daniel Lawrence Smith.
Gary F. Smith.
George Eric Smith.
Heather Lee Smith.
James Gregory Smith.
Jeffrey R. Smith.
Joyce Patricia Smith.
Carl T. Smith Sr.
Kevin Joseph Smith.
Leon Smith Jr.
Moira Ann Smith.
Monica Rodriguez Smith.
Rosemary A. Smith.
Bonnie Chihade Smithwick.
Rochelle Monique Snell.
Christine Ann Snyder.
Diane Bullis Snyder.
Leonard J. Snyder Jr.
Astrid Elizabeth Sohan.
Sushil S. Solanki.
Ruben Solaris.
Naomi Lee Solomon.
Daniel W. Song.
Marie Ray Soper.
Michael Charles Cerasi.
Fabian Soto.
Timothy Patrick Solas.
Gregory Thomas Spagnoletti.
Donald F. Spinpinato Jr.
Thomas Spiraccio.
John Anthony Spataro.
Robert W. Spear Jr.
Robert Spiesman.
Maynard S. Spence Jr.
George Edward Spencer III.
And my uncle, James John Woods. We love and miss you every day. Give Grandma a hug for us.
And my brother, Joseph Michael Giacconi. September 11th, we come here every year to come together as a nation to, it's a useful way to mourn and grieve and remember. And 20 years is a nice round number. But for me and other family members, it's another day, it's another month, it's another year. I still get angry at all the things my brother missed. Joe, we love you, and we miss you.
Robert Andrew Spencer,
Mary Rubina Sperando,
Frank Spinelli,
William E. Spitz,
Joseph Patrick Spohr Jr.,
Klaus Johannes Sprockkamp,
Saranya Sinuan,
Fitzroy St. Rose,
Michael F. Stable,
Lawrence T. Stack,
Timothy M. Stackpole,
Richard James Stadelberger,
Eric Adam Stallman,
Gregory Stike,
Alexandru Liviu Stone,
Corina Stan,
Mary Dominica Stanley,
Anthony Starita,
Jeffrey Stark,
Derek James Stakevicius,
Patricia J. Stats,
Craig William Staub,
William V. Steckman,
Eric Thomas Steen,
William R. Steiner,
Alexander Robbins Steinman,
Edna L. Stevens,
Andrew Sturgiopoulos,
Andrew J. Stern,
Norma Lang Sturuli,
Martha Jane Stevens,
Michael James Stewart,
Richard H. Stewart Jr.,
Sanford M. Stoller,
Douglas Joel Stone,
Lonnie J. Stone,
Jimmy Neville Story,
Timothy Stout,
Thomas Strada,
James J. Strain Jr.,
Edward W. Straub,
George J. Strouch Jr.,
Edward Thomas Strauss,
Stephen R. Strauss,
Larry L. Strickland,
Stephen F. Strobert,
Walwyn Wellington Stewart Jr.,
Benjamin Suarez,
David Scott Suarez,
Ramon Suarez,
Dino Xavier Suarez Ramirez,
Yoichi Sumiyama Sugiyama,
William Christopher Sugra,
Daniel Thomas Sur,
David Mark Sullins,
Christopher P. Sullivan,
Patrick Sullivan,
Thomas G. Sullivan,
Hilario Serranio Sumaya Jr.,
James Joseph Suazo,
and my aunt, Amy Nicole Jarrett, who was funny, outgoing, and always kept the family together. I was only 1 week old when my aunt passed away, but I honor you every single day with my name that you gave to me when I was born. You are my hero and the bravest person I've known. We love and we miss you.
and my father, Richard N. Polis, and my uncle, James P. Hopper. 20 years ago today, I went to school that beautiful morning, never anticipating the horror that was to come to my family and so many others. I've lived almost half of my life since then, and it has been bittersweet. My dad and uncle have missed so much. Our family has grown. My father didn't get to see my nephews grow into the amazing young men they are today, and he didn't get to witness the birth of my 2 nieces and my 2 daughters. It's heartbreaking they'll never get to hear his laugh. I often wonder what nicknames he would have given them. My uncle now has 2 grandsons and 2 granddaughters that will never get to enjoy him as their grandpa. Daddy and Uncle Jimmy, your absence is felt so much more as time passes. We long to hear you both laughing and joking. There is a giant hole in our family without you both. We all love and miss you more than I can ever put into words.
Colleen M. Sapinski, Robert Sutcliffe, Celine Sutter, Claudia Suzette Sutton, John Francis Swain,
Christine M. Swearson.
Brian David Sweeney.
Brian Edward Sweeney.
Madeline Amy Sweeney.
Kenneth J. Swenson.
Thomas F. Swift.
Derek Ogilvy Sword.
Kevin Thomas Sozik.
Gina Steinberg.
Norbert P. Sikorsky.
Harry Tabak.
Joanne C. Tabik.
Norma C. Tadai.
Michael Tadonio.
Keishiro Takahashi.
KG Takahashi.
Phyllis Gail Talbot.
Robert R. Tahami.
John Talagnani.
Sean Patrick Talon.
Paul Talty.
Marita Tam.
Rachel Tamares.
Hector Rogan Tamayo.
Michael Andrew Tamuccio.
Kanashiro Tanaka.
Rondell Sherry Tankard.
Michael Anthony Tanner.
Dennis Gerard Taramina Jr.
Kenneth Joseph Tarantino.
Alan Tarasevich.
Michael C. Tarot.
Ronald Tartero.
Deborah Tarolarella.
Darrell Anthony Taylor.
Donnie Brooks Taylor.
Hilda E. Taylor.
Kip P. Taylor.
Leonard E. Taylor.
Larissa Salone Taylor.
Michael Morgan Taylor.
Sandra C. Taylor.
Sandra Dawn Teague.
Carol W. TP.
Paul A. Techtmeyer.
Yashavan Moshwar Tembe.
Anthony Tempesta.
Dorothy Pearl Temple.
Stanley L. Temple.
David Gustav Peter Tingelin.
Brian John Terenzi.
Lisa Marie Terry.
Gumati Thakardeen.
Harsha Sham Tate.
Michael Theodoridis.
And my brother Angel Perez. We continue to mourn our lost ones as it was that horrific day 20 years ago, September 11, 2001. Our loved ones have left with us precious memories which we shared together. My brother Angel, I know that you received my mom with open arms. Angels, I see you in my dreams next to Mom. Angel, I hear your laughter in my sons, Sebastian, and your smile and big hearts will live with us forever in our hearts. God bless the fallen troops who fought for our nations and continue to fight. There will never be closure as we live to remember until we meet again.
And my cousin, Michael R. Wittenstein, Zichrono Livracha. Michael, you live on in the lives and hearts and minds of everyone whose lives you touched. May your memory be a blessing.
Thomas F. Thurkoff, Jr.
Leslie Ann Thomas.
Brian Thomas Thompson.
Clive Ian Thompson.
Glenn Thompson.
Nigel Bruce Thompson.
Perry A. Thompson.
Vanava Alexi Thompson.
William H. Thompson.
Eric Raymond Thorpe.
Nicola Angela Thorpe.
Tamara C. Thurman.
Saul Edward Thierry Jr.
John Patrick Tierney.
Mary Ellen Tiesi.
William Randolph Tieste.
Kenneth Tejan.
Stephen Edward Teague.
Scott Charles Timmis.
Michelle E. Tinley.
Jennifer M. Tino.
Robert Frank Tipaldi.
John James Tipping II.
David Tirado.
Hector Luis Tirado Jr.
Michelle Lee Titola.
Alicia Nicole Titus.
John J. Tobin.
Richard J. Todisco.
Otis V. Tolbert.
Vladimir Tomasevich.
Stephen Kemen Tomset.
Thomas Tong.
Doris Torres.
Luis Eduardo Torres.
Amy Elizabeth Toyen.
Christopher Michael Trena.
Daniel Patrick Trant.
Abdul Karim Traore.
Glenn J. Travers Sr.
Walter Philip Travers.
Felicia Yvette Taylor Bass.
James Anthony Trentini.
Mary Barbara Trentini.
Lisa L. Treratola.
Karamo Baba Trera.
Michael Angel Trinidad.
Francis Joseph Trombino.
Gregory James Trost.
Willie Q. Troy.
William P. Selepis Jr.
Zanetta Valentinovna Soy.
Michael Patrick Tucker.
Lance Richard Tumulty.
Ching Ping Tung.
Simon James Turner.
Donald Joseph Tuzio.
Robert T. Toomey.
Jennifer Lynn Tsemis.
John Yusofa.
And my uncle, everyone's favorite uncle, Mike Tinley.
And my brother Joey, Joseph Calandrillo. Yeah, I haven't had anybody to play basketball with in a long time now. I'm sure he really thinks that this is a riot. No, I mean, the fact that I'm doing this, hope you're enjoying yourself. No, one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. Just he's a good man. I mean, it shouldn't have happened to anybody. You know, you're all talking about heroes. Well, I mean, the men and women in green were out there fighting for our freedom. And the men and women in blue, police and fire, they're fighting for our safety. So God bless America, and God keep an eye over New York City. Thank you.
Tyler Victor Ugelin.
Michael A. Uliano.
Jonathan J. Human.
Anil Shafari Humaka.
Alan V. Upton.
Diane Marie Urban.
John Damian Vacaccio.
Bradley Hodges Vadas.
William Valcarcel.
Felix Antonio Vale.
Ivan Vale.
Benito Valentin.
Santos Valentin Jr.
Carlton Francis Valvo II.
Pendiala Vamsi Krishna.
Erica H. Van Acker.
Kenneth W. Van Auken.
R. Bruce Van Hine.
Daniel M. Van Leer.
Edward Raymond Vanacore.
John Charles Vandavander.
Frederick T. Varachi.
Gopalakrishnan Varadhan.
David Vargas.
Scott C. Vassell.
Azil Ishmael Vasquez.
Ronald J. Vogt.
Archangel Vasquez.
Santos Vasquez,
Peter Vega,
Sankara Sastry Velamuri,
Jorge Velasquez,
David Vera,
Anthony Mark Ventura,
Lawrence G. Velling,
Loretta Ann Vera,
Christopher James Villalonga,
Matthew Gilbert Viana,
Robert Anthony Vicario,
Celeste Torres Victoria,
Joanna Vidal,
John T. Vigiano II,
Joseph Vincent Vigiano,
Frank J. Vignola Jr.,
Joseph Barry Villarda,
Clarabel Villalobos Hernandez,
Sergio Gabriel Villanueva,
Chantel Vincelli,
Melissa Renee Vincent,
Francine Air Virgilio,
Lawrence Virgilio,
Joseph Gerard Viciano,
Joshua S. Vitale,
Maria Percoco Vola,
Lynette D. Vosky,
Garo H. Vosquerijon,
Alfred Anton Vacosa,
Gregory Kamal Bruno Wackler,
Karen J. Wagner,
Mary Alice Wallstrom,
and my father, Keith E. Coleman. Not a day goes by that I don't think about my father and the horrible way that he was taken from me. I think he worked so hard. He deserved to raise his children, be with his wife. But cowards took him from me. I think about how he should have been there for my graduation, all of them. Now he should be here now. I can't change that, but I know that he's here in spirit. Those cowards took a lot of things from us. They took many lives. There's things they couldn't take. They can't take our spirit. They can't take their spirit. They can't take our memories. They can't take our freedom. They can't take our love. They can't take our country. They can't take those that are defending it. So God bless America, and God bless everyone who defends it every single day to prevent another tragedy like this. Thank you.
and my amazing sweetheart, my husband, firefighter John Shard, Engine Company 201. Never a day has gone by in the last 20 years that I have not thought of you and you missed your smile. Our boys, Rob, Chris, and Johnny, are now young men who are also proud of their incredible dad. I love you as much as the day I met you 31 years ago. Fred, Christina, Danny, and Katie have missed you so much and are always with me and the boys with their full love and support to remember and celebrate your life. You are one of the heroic 343 who gave their lives selflessly so others could live. We must remember our military who has made so many sacrifices over the last 20 years. Never forget all those who died for our flag and for our country. They are our shining lights and defines what it means to be an American.
Honor Elizabeth Wainio.
Gabriella Silvina Waisman.
Wendy Alice Rosario Wakeford.
Courtney Wainscott Walcott.
Victor Wald.
Kenneth Waldy.
Benjamin James Walker.
Glenn Wall.
Mitchell Scott Wallace.
Peter Guider Wallace.
Robert Francis Wallace.
Roy Michael Wallace.
Jean Marie Wallendorf.
Matthew Blake Wallens.
Meta L. Waller.
John Wallace Jr.
Barbara P. Walsh.
Jim Walsh.
Jeffrey P. Walls.
Ching Wang.
Weibing Wang.
Michael Warcola.
Stephen Gordon Ward.
Timothy Ray Ward.
James A. Waring.
Brian G. Warner.
Derek Christopher Washington.
Charles Waters.
James Thomas Waters, Jr.
Patrick J. Waters.
Kenneth Thomas Watson.
Michael Henry Way.
Todd Christopher Weaver.
Walter Edward Weaver.
Nathaniel Webb.
Dinah Webster.
William Michael Weems.
Joanne Flora Weil.
Michael Thomas Weinberg.
Stephen Weinberg.
Scott Jeffrey Weingart.
Stephen George Weinstein.
Simon Weiser.
David M. Weiss.
David Thomas Weiss.
Chin Sun Pak Wells.
Vincent Michael Wells.
Deborah Jacobs Welsh.
Timothy Matthew Welty.
Christian Hans Rudolph Wemmers.
Su Hui Wen.
John Joseph Wenkus.
Ola D. Wangenchuk.
Peter M. West.
Whitfield West, Jr.
Meredith Lynn Whalen.
Eugene Michael Whalen.
Adam S. White.
Edward James White, III.
James Patrick White.
And my father, Wei Bing Wong.
And my are you okay? And my uncle, William Valcarcel. I didn't get to know him very well, but I know his children and I know his grandchildren, and I'm very grateful to know them every single day because I know that he would be proud of them because I'm proud of them every single day. I miss you.
We love you and miss you so, so very much. You will live on in our hearts forever. And may love and peace always prevail.
John Sylvester White.
Kenneth Wilburn White, Jr.
Leonard Anthony White.
Melissa Y. White.
Maudlin A. White.
Sandra L. White.
Wayne White.
Leanne Marie Whiteside.
Mark P. Whitford.
Leslie A. Whittington.
Michael T. Holy.
Mary Lenz Wyman.
Jeffrey David Wiener.
William J. Wick.
Allison Marie Wildman.
Glenn E. Wilkinson.
Ernest M. Wilcher.
John Charles Willett.
Brian Patrick Williams.
Candace Lee Williams.
Crossley Richard Williams, Jr.
David J. Williams.
David Lucian Williams.
Debbie L. Williams.
Dwayne Williams.
Kevin Michael Williams.
Louis Anthony Williams.
Louis Calvin Williams III.
John P. Williamson.
Donna Ann Wilson.
William Eben Wilson.
David Harold Winton.
Glenn J. Winnick.
Thomas Francis Wise.
Alan L. Wisniewski.
Frank Paul Wisniewski.
David Wiswall.
Sigrid Charlotte Wiswe.
Michael R. Wittenstein.
Christopher W. Wodneschek.
Martin Phillips Woolforth.
Catherine Susan Wolf.
Jennifer Yen Wong.
Su-Chung Steve Wong.
Yin Ping Wong.
Yuk Ping Wong.
Brent James Woodall.
James John Woods.
Marvin Roger Woods.
Patrick J. Woods.
Richard Heron Woodwell.
David Terrence Woolley.
John Bentley Works.
Martin Michael Wortley.
Rodney James Watton.
William Wren, retired.
John W. Wright Jr.
Neil Robin White.
Sandra Lee Wright.
Jupiter Yambem.
And my father, Jorge Velasquez. We remember his dedication, sacrifices, love, laughter, support, the wisdom and humility, and his hard work. He wasn't just a 9/11 victim and hero. He was a father, husband, brother, and friend, and he will never be forgotten. We love him.
And my father, Norbert P. Shurkovsky, who I never met because my mom was only pregnant with me. Thank you for my life, my name, and everything in between. Thank you for Alex and my mom. I miss you every day and love you so much more. Mommy, Alex, and I miss you more and love you. I will meet you one day, but today I will live your legacy on.
John D. Yamnicki Sr.
Suresh Yanamadala.
Vicky Yancey.
Shu Yin Yang.
Matthew David Yarnell.
Myrna Yashkula.
Shakila Yasmin.
Ola Bessie Shadi Layeni Yi.
Kevin W. Yoakum.
Edward P. York.
Kevin Patrick York.
Raymond R. York.
Suzanne Martha Yeomans.
Barrington Leroy Young, Jr.
Donald MacArthur Young.
Edmund G. Young, Jr.
Jacqueline Young.
Lisa L. Young.
Elkin Ewan.
Joseph C. Zaccoli.
Adele Agabi Zakari.
Arcady Salzman.
Edwin J. Zambrana Jr.
Robert Allen Zampieri.
Mark Zangrilli.
Christopher R. Zarba, Jr.
Ira Zaslow.
Kenneth Albert Zellman.
Abraham J. Zelmanovitz.
Martin Morales Zempoaltecatel.
J. Zhang.
Mark Scott Zeppelin.
J. Yao Justin Zhou.
Yuguan Zheng.
Evelyn Zeminski.
Michael Joseph Zinzi.
Charles Allen Zion.
Julie Lynn Zipper.
Salvatore J. Zizza.
Procopius Paul Zoyce.
Joseph J. Zukala.
Andrew Stephen Zucker.
Igor Zuckelman.
And my cousins, Roshan Ramesh Singh and Kamlade Kami Singh, who are both brothers and sisters, and my uncle, Amarnath Lachman. It's been 20 years, but there's not a day that goes by that we do not think of you. We miss your smiles, your laughter, your hugs, and the joy that you brought to our families. We love you and until we meet again. Thank you.
And my brother Nicholas, losing him has left a hole that nothing can replace. And thank you to the people of New York for giving the families this beautiful space where we can honor and remember our loved ones.
Michael Edward Asher. Scott Walter Cahill. Michael Scott Carlo. Terrell Coleman. Michael L. Collins. Linda M. Colin. Stephen Glick. Peter Gerard Galinas. Teresa M. Martin. Daniel R. Nolan. Norman S. Rosenow. And my brother, my little brother, Stephen Gerard Hoffman. You loved and lived in a big way. May we never forget.